Hey guys, David Vos here, and I hope you're having a great day where you are. I'm having a wonderful day here in Oklahoma. I found some very interesting information for you guys today. This is literally mind-blowing information. I don't even know what to say. I'm just going to tell you what I found. This is so mind-blowing for me that I can't even hardly imagine how this video isn't going to somehow get out there and get to some high-ups in the government, and they're going to have to explain what's going on here, because I really found something huge. And before I show you that, I'm just going to show you something here I found. It's just an interesting little anomaly. I don't know what that is. Maybe nothing. But that's not what I wanted to show you guys. There's so many weird things down here that I could spend all day just showing you stuff. But take a look over here. See if we can find this now. I am completely, this may take a minute. I think it's right here. Casey Station. And I was asking myself, why do they have stations? What do they call them stations for? I'm sure all of this information most people know, I guess. Some of you PhD guys out there probably know all this stuff. But I didn't know why they originally put these stations all around here. And I got to thinking about the word station. I noticed that not too far from here was a Davis station. And I got to thinking, okay, what is a station for? I know what they might tell you it's for. They might say I actually did some research, and on the internet it actually says they're doing research down here for biology, viruses. It's like a laboratory where they're studying viruses. Okay, go figure. I don't know. I hope they're not, but that's what they say they're doing. But my mind always goes deeper, and I'm thinking they got something going on down here that they don't want us to know. And so there's people down here that we can find when you go in and you look close up and you see this little village, and it's called a station. So, but I thought, I know there are like places in Canada where there were little towns along the road and people were going to Alaska, and they would call that town a station, right? We even have a little thing we call gas stations, because you're on a journey, and in order to get to your final destination, you need a certain station. Well, what a better place to have, what better location for a station than right at the coast of Antarctica. The ships could arrive there and drop off supplies and so forth. There's the Davis station down over here somewhere. I'm not going to wait for that to load because the words don't always pop up. So I'm thinking, okay, where are they going? This is a station, but where are they going? So somebody the other day said, well, follow the road. So I thought, okay, let's follow this road. I see a road going out right here, right? And it kind of winds around. Now, this time it may take a couple of minutes, guys. We've got to show you something that'll blow your mind here. I don't think you're prepared for this, guys. You might have to get a cup of coffee and sit down and prepare to really be completely blown away. Okay, so we go along, we get to this place where there's a fork in the road. There's always a fork in the road, right? So I thought, okay, well, it looks like straight would be the best way to go, but I'm going to take the right way first. I'm going to veer right and just see where that goes. So I did, and of course, immediately you see something there. There's a lot of tire tracks. So there's been people running around in here a lot. And there's something dark there, maybe a building, but we can't figure out what that is. So we'll take this road and we'll just keep going. And then we get to this area that it changes color. It does this often. Evidently, they're taking these pictures from satellites and they're piecing them together. Okay. So they're not spliced together correctly. So the road is at the left on the bottom, but if you go to the white area, it's more over to the right, and we take off again, and we keep following this road. It's the same road, guys. So we kept following it, and we followed it, and we followed it. And it's like, wow, this has got to go someplace really interesting, because it's going and going and it's going. And so they're not just, I don't think they all went to Australia and made a station and then made this long road, right, to just go nowhere. I see another road kind of comes into this. We'll see what that is here in a little bit. So there's obviously something along the road here, maybe little stations or whatever. So we keep going and going, and then we come to this weird, phased out, blurred out area. Okay, well, this always happens when they don't want you to see what it is. I mean, literally, they don't want us to know where this road is going. And trust me, guys, I have waited to see if this would clear up. Maybe it would just need to load. It doesn't load. They put that beige colored rectangle there so that you can't see what they're going to. So I thought, okay, now I got to find the road, guys. Let's see here. It should be right around in here. There's the road, okay? So I just said, let's just go over and take a little measurement. Let's measure it from here. And we'll measure across this area to see what they're hiding here. How big of an area are they hiding? Okay, it was about 2 miles wide. So I thought, well, let's just go back about 1 mile right in the middle. And I have to be exact, but we'll add a point there and we'll go up. We'll see how long this thing is. Oh, buddy. It's like 10 miles. So I added that point. And I got back and took a look at it, and I thought, man, that's a big area to be hiding. So what do? Okay, so let's go back to where we went, where we came from a little bit. See if we can find that area where we... Okay, and I noticed that they were flashing this thing called Casey's Station Skyway. I'm like, okay, that's where we just came from, Casey's Station. But now we got a skyway. Wow, I wonder what a skyway is. And then I thought, I wonder if that is the location. If we had gone straight instead of turned right back there, I wonder if that's where we were going. So I zoomed in on that, and I noticed that there does seem to be a little skyway or a runway there. It looks like a runway to me. Looks like they've flattened it out, and it goes up to here, and it goes all the way down to, it's a long, long ways. I would say, let's see, about, a couple miles or something like that. But down on the left of Casey's Station Skyway, I noticed something very interesting. Some buildings or something. My mind starts thinking, okay, there's a runway, ships are landing. Where are they landing? Where are they going? Well, maybe there's elevators and they're going down. I don't know. But you notice that there's that little squiggly thing going on, because this spot right here, it's not good enough for them just to blur it, right? Like this is blurry. You can't focus it. But they got to just kind of literally take part of the page and do the squiggly. Now, that was going on when I was looking at Area 51, too. So, obviously, that means there's something there they don't want you to see. Maybe this is all blurred out and squiggly, constantly moving, so that a computer can't find a way to clear it up or something. So there's something there. And then, of course, I thought, well, okay, let's just mark that spot off. And then here's this road, and I thought, is that the same road? Had we gone straight, that would have led us to this? And yeah, we just keep going and going and going. It's like a Energizer bunny. It never ends, right? It's a long ways. So there's that that road that we turned right, remember? Okay, so if you keep going straight, you come out to this runway, the skyway, they're calling it. Okay? Now, I said, okay, well, this is a road, so this must be a road too. Oh, no, it only goes that far. It goes to the runway. So I was thinking, all right, so they probably fly in planes and stop here and get in the golf cart or whatever and bring them over here, and they can either go into a elevator so they don't have to ride back in that 50 below weather and go through a tunnel back to the station, right, where they're probably fed. There's a big hangar. Maybe they got some luxurious convention halls down under the ground. I don't know. And who is it that might be landing here? I don't know. But there's a whole lot more, guys. Watch carefully. Stay tuned. So I thought to myself, okay, I really want to know what might be, because this is getting interesting. So I really want to know what might be over here under this beige, or what would you call that color? Cream-colored beige. And I noticed there's another really creamy-colored rectangular thing up here that's quite large. Maybe quite a bit larger than the other one. So I was thinking there's probably something under there, too. So I decided to make a little add point there to see how long this was. And it was quite long. So I thought, well, since we can't see what's under there and I don't know what to do here, but I'm looking for some clues. I thought, what if I back off here? Do I see anything that might be a clue? And then I noticed up here in the top right-hand corner that we've got this sort of a mountain-looking thing. A little bump. Maybe it's a mountain. And I thought, well, that's better than any, nothing. Let's look around this area. And I go down a little bit. And what do we got? It looks like another huge runway. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it's called Wilkins Runway. It's even called Runway. The other was Skyway. This is Runway. So I added that point. And then I zoomed on in. And I'm like, oh, look at over here. Let's add another point there. And I was like, what is this? That's very similar to that other thing we saw over there by the Skyway. So whatever these things are, they're necessary to have near runways. But this runway's a lot bigger. Oh, and it's even got, several of these, right? These areas. But this runway, as I come over here, I notice, well, here's another group over here. And then there's a lone little building over here. It looks pretty big. And these buildings, I mean, we could try to look at them, but I don't know if you guys can see that, but it looks like a skyscraper. I don't even know how big this thing might be. But it's pretty good size, these buildings. And there's quite a few of them. But, so I'm looking and I'm noticing that this big runway stops here. But then there's a small runway here. And I was looking at this and I don't think that's anything. But this is definitely some kind of a smaller runway. And I noticed, well, there's something in the middle of it too, like some kind of a car there. But this was about 2 miles long, I figured. And yeah, 2 miles long. So I made a point here. And I figured out, oh, and by the way, at the beginning of this runway, there's some kind of craft. Now, as blurry as that is, and there's no way to get it clearer, I don't know if those are airplanes in formation, getting ready to take off, or they've landed, or if those are alien ships, because they don't really look like airplanes, to be honest with you. But, there's something. So we start off here at 60 miles. So the length of this runway, or whatever it is, it's called a runway actually, is 62.4. So that's a 2.4, like 2.5 mile runway. And when you get to the end of this runway, there's another building of some kind. Looks like they're driving around, packing the snow down in that area for some reason. And then I decided to make a add point there. And I thought, wow, what the heck is this huge runway? And what does it have to do with the station? So then it kind of got my attention. I was thinking, okay, where are we at? I mean, compared, like we're on the coast of Antarctica here. This is fairly near the coast. So I thought, what country is this near? And I backed it out, and it's Australia. So, of course, if they're going to be landing here, coming and going or whatever, whether it's from other worlds or whatever's going on, I mean, there could be some huge convention center underneath the ground, tunnels, we don't know what's there. I'm thinking to myself at this point, why would all the heads of state, you know, Barack Obama and Trump and Merkel and all these guys, right, get in an airplane, fly all the way around the world to the most difficult, freezing place in the world to meet up and fly their jets over here and meet up and talk, have a big meeting? Well, you might say, well, privacy, Dave. Well, they could have their, you know, I was thinking, why don't they just go to their little California satanic coven retreat that they always go to, right? Or somewhere in Dusseldorf, you know, whatever. Or Switzerland, or up in some castle, or underground beneath Denver, or somewhere else. Why here? Well, of course, we all know that the Nazis had a base here. There was actually a war. Admiral Byrd and these people went down there and said, man, there are forces down there coming at us. We lost that war. Go look that up. They were talking about craft that had super abilities coming from the South Pole way back in 1940 something. And there's all kinds of evidence and actual proof that Germany, they ended up going there and they set up, they had plans there. You can find them on the net. There are plans, designs for these crafts that look like discs or saucers. It was around that time people started seeing flying saucers and stuff like this. So I don't know, but some say Hitler was here. He ended up in Brazil. Well, what about Australia? Something else I noticed, guys, a lot of times we think that the warmest place in South America, or I should say Antarctica, would be here, right? Because it's like a little island and it's close to South America. But no, actually, the warmest place is here. That's why when you zoom into this area, this Casey's Landing and different areas, you'll see that it's melting. The snow is melting. It's a really pretty kind of warm climate here. So I thought, okay, what is over here in Australia? I got to looking and I found that right over here in New South Wales, there is a special ops forces that was created. I don't know when now. I'm kind of drawing a blank as to when. I think like 2000, 2002 or something. And that's very similar. Started putting things together because, you know, remember we just talked about how Donald Trump consolidated all the special forces in every department of our military, Navy, Air Force, Army, Marines, all of them. He took all their special ops and created a new thing called Special Forces, which is a bigger and more elite group of military in the United States than all the others. It's another branch of the military over in the United States. Well, they did it in Australia as well, in sync. And evidently they probably did it, I think I read they did it in Britain. So I don't know where else they've done it. I don't know how far this goes. I haven't done enough research to know everything here. I'm just telling you what I know. There is a huge headquarters of all their special forces that is the elite fighting military branch, right? Somewhere in that area there in Australia. So I added a point there. And then right here, I looked up where all their military places were. And it seems there's like 4 or 5 different military bases or something like that here in Adelaide or near Adelaide. So I went in and did a little bit of research. I found that right here in the middle of downtown Adelaide, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Sorry, you guys in Australia. But let's see. Right, let me see if I can find this, guys. Ooh, there's a big old building right there. There's the town hall. There's the... There it is, right here. This building with this big dome and a cross on top. I think that's the building. It doesn't say. It just says Sir Samuel Way Building. But on the map that I looked at, that was the headquarters for some sort of RAA, Royal Australian Air Force or whatever. So I put a mark there. And I got to looking right around this building. I see the Supreme Court of Australia. Pretty big thing, the Supreme Court. Huh. I see, let's see here. The dumpling spots and Chinese grocery shops. So there's a lot of Chinese in this area. And that's going to be important as we're going forward in this video. Don't forget that. There's a lot. This is Chinatown here in Adelaide, right next to the headquarters of, their Air Force base. So right next door basically is Chinatown. Up above it is the Southern Cross Education Institute. Okay, education. We've got Department of Education, Department of Child Protection, the Auditor General Department. We've got some huge churches like the Pilgrim United Church. We've got the Adelaide Town Hall, the City of Adelaide, Office of the Industry of Advocate. We've got a college, a preschool. They would need children, right, to harvest. They would need educational facilities to re-educate people. We have a Catholic cathedral here. But like it says, here's a Department of Education right there in the middle. I saw some other things here that okay. Training and education there. The AHTS, training and education. And right next door is the immigration lawyer. I don't know, guys. I'm just saying, this seems to be a very central location. Preschool. Here's the Children's Center, a community center for children. Here's multicultural community. Grammar school down here. Christian Brothers. Here's St. Patrick's Church. There's Trinity Church. University of South Australia. There's the library. There's Remand Center, whatever that is. Faculty of Health and Medical Sciences. Wei Li Building. Sounds Chinese. Trinity Church. I don't know if I said that. Government House. Queensford College, Pilgrim Unity Church, Finders University of Victoria. Oh, up there in the top right, Freemason Hall. Oh, that explains everything. Vocational College, CDW Studios. I'm not sure what that is. Hospitals. Who knows what they're doing at that hospital, whether they're harvesting organs or I know, guys, this is crazy, but so anyway, from there, you're going to have a place to set up headquarters. It's probably going to have something to do with the billionaires that live in China. And then here's the Adelaide airport. So I put a mark there. And then when I was looking on the map in Antarctica, I noticed there's a Mount Bowman there. And I noticed that Australia has a, what is it? We're upside down here. Somewhere up in here is a town called Bowman, right here. That used to be a huge military base in World War II. It had something to do with the war. So I went on down and I went back, take a look at Antarctica one last time. And I thought about all of this. I went online and read up on some things. I found out that this particular area is owned by Australia, or they're not allowed to do any military pursuits, evidently, but it seems that there is some things that are kind of fading over into military operations. And what was really odd is that it seems like somewhere along the line they were talking about how Australia sort of abandoned, they got the biggest territory down there. And they have kind of abandoned it and they're not doing a lot with it. Yet on the other hand, if you look at some of the articles, they're talking about how they've got these bases and they're studying viruses down there and all kinds of things. But then I found several articles that say that China is doing some military operations and they're not checking on them. They're down there doing some military operations. And it seemed to me very likely that if Australia's not saying anything and the United States isn't saying anything and China's down there doing operations, that it must be that they're doing them under the guise of China. And it must be whether it's otherworldly beings or the billionaires like Bill Gates and stuff and Amazon and, Jeff Bezos and stuff that own China are using that as an excuse to do something down there. It may have something to do with the technology, biotech, and studying bacteria or whatever they're doing down there. But in my own mind, I can't believe that they would need such large buildings scattered all over the place and huge runways if they were just down there studying the soil or the weather. But here is the conclusion. If it isn't enough what we saw with our own eyes, the information that we gathered, and the continent right next door has got all this stuff going on. with the Vatican Catholic Cathedral standing in the middle of it all, and schools and preschools and military buildings and everything all around it. But you say, oh, come on, Dave, it's just an airfield. So, okay, they got an airport in Australia. Don't have a tizzy fit, Dave. It's just an airport. You don't know that there's aliens. You don't know that they're doing anything. Well, I know they're doing something. You might check, with your local administrator in your city, because they probably closed you down for the last year, haven't they? And they were doing some shenanigans over there in Wuhan, weren't they? But we also know we've got all these rumors. You say, well, that's just rumors, Dave, about the military of the Nazis down there and all this stuff, right? Come on, Dave, that's just rumors. And you don't have any proof. You're just looking at pictures, Dave. All right, this is pictures. But I want you to remember the one picture, if you don't remember anything else, that we showed you. We spent a lot of time looking at that picture. We even measured it. It was 2 feet wide and something like 13 or 14 miles. It's 2 miles wide and 13 or 14 miles long. And then we saw that there was another stretch even much bigger than that, probably 20, 30 miles long. That's all blacked out and you can't see what's under it. Right in between, sandwiched right in between these two airstrips. So they don't mind you seeing the airstrip. They even call it a runway. They got a little plane, right, to show you there's a runway. Well, we sure need a big old runway like that, right, for Boeing 742s, right, up there in the middle of the Antarctic. But, okay, that's just an airport. But where are they going? Well, we saw some buildings that almost looked like skyscrapers. Where are they, Motel 6? I don't think so. They're probably something like the Taj Mahal or something. These are big, expensive, very plush hotels. For who? Who's staying in these buildings? And that's just what you see. That is just as they get off their plane. And by the way, the little station we saw called Casey Station, we didn't show you a Davis Station. They both lead to the same place. That other road, that goes to Davis Station. Look, these powerful people getting off these ships, whatever they are, wherever they're coming from, they are not getting a little go-kart going through 50 below weather all the way down this little snow blazed trail on a skidoo. No, that's simply the road for the workers, the slaves, the people that are commissioned to stay down there in that grueling weather, working in that hangar, taking care of the airplanes and whatever little dinky airplanes that maybe they used to fly them up to Australia or whatever, right? These little jets or whatever, not the ships that are coming from the other planets. They don't work on them, I don't think. They probably got other places they work on them. But those are just the grunts, the mechanics, right? The scientists or whatever that are working for us. Maybe, probably not even the scientists, probably just the mechanics that run up in a go-kart and check the runway or make sure, plow the runway or the roads or whatever. They're just the grunts. That's all that station is. And they have to have fuel and water for the men there. And they have to have fuel to run the go-karts. And so they have a station to bring in supplies for them. But that is not for those people that are staying in that 13 mile by 2.5 miles by another one by 3 miles by 30 mile long area, which would be a major city, like the size of Sacramento, that we can't see, that's been blurred out, that you're not allowed to even know what's going on, that they strategically put down at the bottom of the world. It's so cold and made it off limits to everybody else in the world. And all we get to see is the little grunt in the golf course down here at the station doing their little jobs, taking care of the runway. We get to see the runway. We get to see the airport, maybe a couple of hotels or something, or a hangar or two. But we don't get to see what's in the city that Admiral Byrd talked about. He said he went there. He said it was lush. There were animals. There was trees. We don't know. All I'm saying is when they don't want you to see something, they're hiding something. And we saw that little blinky, 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 flashy, flashy that keeps you and I from actually seeing other little things. Not even in that big city area that they've blanketed out. But there are certain, maybe, holes in the ground that goes to tunnels. Because when these people get off these ships, they don't want to walk through the 50 below or 60, 70 below weather. They probably put them in an elevator and they go down into a chamber with an escalator that goes to their luxurious underground convention center or city or whatever they're doing there. We did see, like, a few years ago, was it Obama or something went there, and Kerry went there for some reason, and somebody in the Catholic hierarchy or some bishop, or I don't remember, the cardinal or whatever, went there to go meet with somebody, and we never did find out what they were doing there. Well, they ain't down there just looking at the penguins. I'm just saying. Anyway, that's what I think. Tell me what you guys think. I'm going to do some more research on this, guys. I did, at some point, find some information on this guy named Davis. I thought I read somewhere that he had something to do with this military operation with Bowman, and I don't know. But I really didn't get too deep in studying what happened, because there's a lot of stuff that they're not really even telling us about World War II and what went on down there. All I know is there's some huge bases down there. I have not seen anybody talking about this, and I'd like to know what's going on. Anyway, this is David Vos. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.